People seem to really like him. But why? He saved the Canadian economy in 2008. He prevented Canadian banks from doing what US banks did. Carney's actions as the governor of the Bank of Canada are said to have played a major role in helping Canada avoid the worst impacts of the financial crisis. The epoch-making feature of his tenure as governor remains the decision to cut the overnight rate by 50 basis points in March 2008, only 1 month into his appointment. The balls on this guy. While the European Central Bank delivered a rate increase in July 2008, Carney anticipated the leveraged loan crisis would trigger global contagion. When policy rates in Canada hit the effective lower bound, the central bank combated the crisis with the non-standard monetary tool conditional commitment in April 2009 to hold the policy rate for at least 1 year and a boost to domestic credit conditions and market confidence. Huh. All right. I'm not going to lie. That's actually a pretty Sigma move. Anticipating the subprime mortgage crisis and going like, okay, actually we're gonna dial it, we're gonna crank it way the fuck back. Like day 2 of my tenure, you know? All right. The Canadian economy outperformed those of its G7 peers during the crisis. Canada was the first G7 nation to have both its GDP and employment recover to pre-crisis levels. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. All right. It's pretty impressive, you know? Good guy? Well, that doesn't make him a good guy. It means that he saw the writing on the wall and responded appropriately. You know, not necessarily like an endorsement of him beyond that. Let's not go overboard. I'm glad he's competent, I guess. Canada's risk-averse fiscal and regulatory environment is also cited as a factor. In 2009, a Newsweek columnist wrote, Canada has done more than survive this financial crisis. The country is positively thriving in it. Canadian banks are well capitalized and poised to take advantage of the opportunities that American and European banks cannot seize. All right. I mean, you know, Governor of the Bank of England, the first non-Briton to be appointed to the role since the Bank of England was established in 1694. Man, they must have really liked him. Views. Wealth inequality. In 2011, Carney referred to the Occupy Wall Street protests as entirely constructive, citing frustrations being felt particularly in the U.S. over inequality increasing CEO worker pay gaps. All right. Carney warned of the societal risk of staggering wealth inequality in a Roscoe lecture at Liverpool John Moores University. The proportion of the wealth held by the richest 1% of Americans increased from 25% in 1990 to 40% in 2012. Globally, the share of wealth held by the richest 1% in the world rose from 1/3 in 2000 to 1/2 in 2010. Warned against Brexit. Said the economy wasn't ready for a no-deal Brexit. Monetary policy. He says the widespread use of the US dollar, the dominant currency pricing, in trade invoicing in place of the currency of either the producer or the importer has had a destabilizing effect on the global economy, according to Reuters. So this fucker plays a lot of Forex games, what I'm hearing? Probably. Carney urged central banks to collaborate in replacing the US dollar as reserve currency. I don't know. This guy might actually have some of the sauce to resist Donald Trump from Canada. Like, if he's an actual liberal who has like a competent grasp of the need for, like, you know, sort of like national autonomy when it comes to global banking and financial deregulation, that seems like kind of a natural counter, doesn't it? Not in the way a socialist would be, of course, but wants to decrease the US dollar's domineering influence on trade worldwide. He does, however, want to scrap the capital gains tax increase. Liberal. Huge economic opportunity in the transition to a sustainable economy with reduced carbon emissions. In an interview with Jon Stewart. Oh, just a month ago. Okay, maybe I'm sleeping a little bit on this. That's mostly an election thing. That makes sense. In 2025, he mentions this, you know. He wants power. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't watch the Jon Stewart interview because it's on The Daily Show. Though the fact that he got the interview to begin with does signal a lot of attention, no? The rise of Mark Carney. You know, I'm warming up to this guy a little bit, you know? Again, he's still a filthy liberal, but competent liberal governance is far from the worst thing that could be heading Canada in a time like this. During his Liberal leadership campaign, Carney proposed replacing the existing consumer carbon tax with an incentive program to reward green choices while keeping tax on large industrial emitters. Promised to introduce a carbon border adjustment to penalize high-polluting foreign imports. I wonder who that's targeted at. In a 2025 interview, a carbon border adjustment.